Hey, good afternoon, good evening, or good morning, wherever you are at in the Army. My name is General Greg Johnson, and I'm the TAG, otherwise known as the Adjutant General, and this is TAG Talks, where we like to talk about some topics that have impact on you in the Army and the Army at large. In today's episode, I'm not sure what episode number it is, maybe 7, number 3, number 5, number 6. It doesn't really matter. We're here today to talk about enlisted promotions, which is a pretty important topic in general, and definitely an important topic right now as we've gone live with IPSE over the last several months, and in particular importance to those that are in the enlisted ranks, et cetera. So today we have some experts. One sitting next to me looks like much more formal than I do. I dressed down today for the event, hence my wonderful outfit today. Sergeant Major O'Mealy, as well as two of her fantastic NCOs, Sergeant First Class Thomas and Sergeant First Class Buckley. So welcome to the TAG Talks here. Let's go around the horn. Sergeant Major, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you actually do for enlisted promotions.
I am Sergeant Major Nefertiti O'Mealy. I am the Chief of Enlisted Promotions. I have been in this seat since October of 2022, so roughly 8 months. And my job is to ensure that everything dealing with enlisted promotions that my team kind of makes sure that we are taking care of soldiers and making sure that soldiers are being promoted and identifying those issues that are either stopping soldiers' promotions or figuring out what's going on with, enlisted promotions. I have a team of junior, 2 teams. I have a junior enlisted team, which consists of a group of civilians and 2 soldiers, so there's a team of 7, and then I have a senior enlisted team that has 12 individuals. We have a pre-board team and a post-board team, and we have, I said 12, so we have 11 civilians and 1 green suitor. So
awesome. So you're kind of responsible though for this team. I think that's important to highlight. A lot going on in the promotions world. So let's talk to the folks that you brought with you. So Sergeant Thomas, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm Sergeant First Class Thomas. I serve as the Junior Enlisted Promotions NCOIC for the active component. I started in that position around 6 months, and I previously worked for the DA Secretariat for about a year as the Operations NCO. My main duties in that position is to take care of the decentralized and semi-centralized population, as well as the E6 to E5 population, taking care of them, facilitating the promotions for them, and just being a general SME for junior enlisted promotions.
Yeah. How was the boardroom, and how did that help you come into this job?
It opened my eyes to the overall process. So it's a lot to see, a lot to learn. And just being able to be involved in that process, it taught me a lot about the Army and how it works.
Yeah. I think for a lot of folks that are out there, we always have positions opening, but it's good to be on the team up here to see how all this process kind of works here at HRC. And at the end of the day, it's how can we help soldiers? So yeah, we're lucky to have you on the team. And then Sergeant First Class Buckley.
All right, I'm Sergeant First Class Buckley. I am the NCOIC for Senior Enlisted Promotions. I've been here for about 2.5 years. I do a little bit of everything. When I first got here, I started with the pre-board team, so we handled all the flagging actions, notifications for use of SERBs. And then I moved over, trained with the post-board team, where they handle everything for the list management. But I do a little bit of everything. I'll fill in for the policy civilian if he's out of the office for whatever reason. I think in this position, I like it because, especially having an NCO there, because you get to bring what your experiences from the field. Yeah. And bring that, because a lot of these civilians have been here for so long, you can get detached, I think, from what's currently happening out there. But I also think development-wise, it's really great because you're seeing it from a different echelon, right? So in the field, I'm worried about everyone in my unit, but you're seeing it more on a policy level. So I enjoy the job.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great point. Having just a diverse team from some different backgrounds tied to different experiences, right? Civilian, military. I think it's just important in general. Really important in this line of work, right? Because this is all about promotions, right? And it can, honestly, it can get emotional, right? If you don't get it right, it can get emotional. And part of the reason why we're out talking, promotions and how this works is really to help the field at the end of the day. And then That's the primary focus, and then the secondary is just like, hey, you guys all kind of care. I mean, you know, my want to talk out loud and have you talk out loud is to really tell the Army, hey, we're sitting here listening to what you're saying, and we're actioning things in IPSA, and then really just providing customer service because we absolutely care about, you know, career development and folks' promotions. So. Yeah, just great point, Sergeant Buckley. And I did ask for a fun fact from both of you. You know, I'll give you a reprieve. You know, my fun fact is, hey, I'm kind of into social media. If you guys didn't know, I know you know.
We know.
And the reason I'm a little bit into social media is because folks are talking everywhere. And really, what got me really interested and really focused in on promotions was, hey, there was just a lot of talk. Right, on social media about promotions. And, you know, my kind of origin story here is, you know, I'm watching every 20th us drop a list, right? And then all of a sudden, like, boom, everything goes crazy. And I was just like, what is happening? Yeah, if you're out there listening, you had a AG general just kind of going, yeah, what is going on via social media? And so I just started asking a lot of questions, really starting with you, Sergeant Major, and you two. Hey, you know, what is this, and how do we help, and what do we do? And really, kind of out of that, we've done some things internally to support the field. But then also, we kind of decided, right, we're going to do a little bit of training here. And a little bit of exposure about how IPSA works, and then just how that promotion system works. So, for me, that's I don't know, maybe that's fun. I don't know, that's my fun fact. What do you think, Sergeant Major?
Oh, that's pretty fun, sir, especially with social media, because that's definitely where our younger generation is. And social media does give you I guess you can say, the inside scoop of what's really going on out there in the field, which is, as you stated, once the 20th hits, you definitely can go on social media to kind of see where there may be some problems with the promotion system, whether it's in errors that we made or what's going on with the field. Because a lot of times, like, as we move past February, March, when we kind of like really spiked with different issues, as we continue to trend and things continues to clean up, you know, our system and our processes or whatever, you kind of see that we're getting less and less dislikes on social media throughout the last couple of months.
Yeah, so. Yeah. I guess for me, it's like the broadcast that, hey, we're here and listening, and you know, hey, at the end of the day, we care. So I think that'll continue. And if anyone's watching our social media, then you also notice, hey, we're responding to a lot of this stuff too. So we'll respond directly there, but then we're also pulling stuff off to the side to really understand, hey, what's the problem, and how we can fix it. I do got kind of two big questions that I'm gonna throw at you guys. You know, the one is, you know, hey, what happens if we don't get this right, like the promotion stuff? And then the other is, hey, just talk through a little bit more on, you know, kind of your roles on these two different teams, you know, the junior promotions and senior promotions. But let's start with the doom and gloom. Like, hey, what kind of happens if we don't get this right?
So I think if we don't get this right, sir, we continue to send a bad message to, I guess, to the soldiers that the Army doesn't care, because that seems to be a lot of soldiers when they kind of come up on the net to say, hey, you know, I didn't make it this month, I wasn't selected, I wasn't on the by name list, they automatically go to like the worst, that we don't care. So I think if we don't get it right, we continue to send that message, and therefore we're not able to retain good talent if the soldiers feel that they are not being selected for promotion. So I think that's I guess you say the worst, but I think that's the key thing that always makes me want to work a little bit harder and kind of stay up late at night sometimes trying to identify those problems, so therefore we don't leave those soldiers out there feeling that we don't care and we're not concerned about the issues that they may be experiencing. So I think it's working to ensure that we're taking care of the soldiers.
Yeah, and you're really not the only person staying up late. I know T over here and B, they do a lot. They do a lot all the time just to support. soldiers, and so does the team. I mean, I think for me, that's one of the, the positive things of working in the TAG. You can see how much focus you guys have on the problem, and then just trying to work through it and solve folks' problems. That's why I always say, hey, we kind of care, and that's why we've moved, much more into social media to talk out loud. But maybe we talk a little bit about junior promotions. Like, so I just kind of cut them. Hey, you got junior promotions, you got senior promotions. I don't know, it kind of sounds like high school, but it's not, right? But it's different, a different approach on both. So Sergeant Thomas, you want to talk a little bit about junior promotions?
So just with the junior promotion side of it, I feel at our level, so you're getting those junior populations, so us instilling, that trust, that's what I feel like is really going to be impacted by us not getting it right. That trust is going to be broken. Soldiers depend on that system, from day one to be looking out for them. If I be the best soldier that I can be, that I know I can be, then I'm going to get that promotion. So if we're not giving them that promotion, now they don't trust that the system is going to work out for them. And then you're not going to get the best quality soldiers that you're looking for.
Yeah. Can you guys talk maybe a little bit about that? I guess the pieces of junior promotions too. Like there's a board that has to be conducted, right? That I think a lot of people kind of focus on. Maybe talk about that a little bit.
Right. So that's been a big issue that we've been having. People not understanding the timelines. So the main thing for a lot of them to understand is just look at it as a 4-month process. So in that first month, that's when the commander is going into their selecting who's going to be attending that board for the upcoming month. Once the commander makes those selections and highlight those soldiers, then those soldiers can be aware, I'm going to go to the board. Now I can prepare for the board and I can get the best outcome and results during the board. Once they go to the board during that next month, which will be through the 10th, between the 10th and the 26th day of the month, then those soldiers can receive that promotable status with the reintegration process. So what's key about that is on that 27th day, commanders are no longer able to integrate those soldiers. The next window doesn't open up until the 10th of the next month. So that's why it's very important that they stick to those board timeframes so those soldiers can be integrated in the system at the appropriate time. Otherwise, those soldiers will lose out on an entire month of promotion. And I already stated it's a 4-month process. Now it's moving to a 5-month process.
Yeah. The timing matters. I mean, you want to talk about it a bit, Sergeant Major?
Because with that timeline, because if you don't, and I think it's important, and I keep telling, every time that I get the opportunity to talk to a soldier that's in the S1, it's talking about like our responsibility, our roles, because if you don't take that role and responsibility and kind of like make it important to everyone, because we all play a big part in it, and I think that's like, it's not on just the soldier, it's from start to finish, meaning when the command identifies that soldier for the board, that leadership and that organization owe it to that soldier to ensure that they sit down with the soldier to understand like are your records correct, because anything can kind of stop and stagnate that promotion transaction. So that's why I kind of always make sure that I talk that piece. I'm making sure that we're kind of creating, I guess, simplified documents, because it's easy to say, tell a soldier by regulation or look at the regulation, but a lot of times a lot of people don't understand that regulation. So I think it's important, and our team have been working to put together products to make it simple for anyone to be able to pick it up and follow that timeline, to understand that if we identify the soldier between the 1st and the 3rd of the month, the commander recommends them, send the soldier to the board, and then what needs to happen, and ensuring that those steps are followed all the way up until the idea of getting that soldier to eventually promoted, sir.
Yeah, and I think what we'll do, and we started using that simple slide that just shows some timelines, right? Hey, here's kind of what you need to do by what day in the month to impact this process, and then really just focusing in on, I know we're talking a lot with 42s and HR professionals, but it's also talking to commanders and first sergeants and sergeant majors. Right. Like, hey, we need everybody kind of focused in on this, that if we're going to take care of soldiers and really do right by this process, it's you got to pay attention to the calendar.
It's almost teaching those HR professionals, sometimes you got to learn to be the squeaky wheel, meaning if your commanders aren't doing what they're supposed to do, you have to come up on the net to get someone to hear you and understand that they are interfering with the process. Because as we continue to conduct town halls and talk to the field, a lot of the HR professionals are requesting, is there a way to delegate the commander's authority down to the HR professional to ensure that they're able to integrate the soldiers on time? Because some commanders don't even have access yet.
Yeah, well, and some of it's just a timing thing, and you know, some of it is honestly, I think it's folks don't necessarily know. And that's why it's like, okay, some of this we just need to keep saying over and over again. And you know, you haven't stopped. I know, you just keep doing them. You know, for those that are out there, we are doing, weekly town halls. You know, and I'm giving you guys the big hug because I asked you guys to do it. It's just, let's try to over communicate, you know, again, the importance of the timing and the timing and the timing. Over and over again, so then folks slowly start to, I don't know, maybe just listen, that, hey, the timing really matters. You know, one of those areas that I think, and it's slightly confusing to me too, is that PPW thing, right? You know, maybe explain what the PPW is, and, you know, obviously for a soldier, why does that matter? And if you don't think the PPW is accurate, what do you do?
Right. So PPW is a promotion point worksheet. All right. So the biggest issue I think comes with that is soldiers think that this is my source document. All that does is takes the information from those source documents and put that into a point breakdown so soldiers can look at it and refer to it for promotion points. The reason why there's so many discrepancies on it being accurate and inaccurate is because when they're going into their S1s and getting those records updated, if the S1 doesn't update the record correctly, the PPW is not going to reflect those promotion points correctly. That's just part of the process. And also when they validate the PPW, the validation is as of where they stand currently on the points. So that's not saying at the end of the month when the points are pulled for promotion, that PPW is not going to go back and say, oh, this is the points you had, so validate that. It's only currently showing where their promotion points are. A great example of that is, say a soldier had no weapons qualification on February 28th. They go in on March, update of weapons qualification. March 1st. March 3rd, they go into the system, validate their promotion points. That PPW is going to show the promotion points as of where they are right now with that weapons qualification. As of February 28th, there was no weapons qualification, so there were no points. Yeah. So that's where the discrepancy comes from with those promotion points.
Yeah, but I get it if you're a soldier and you're looking and you're like, hey, wait a minute, what happened? So I know we get a lot of that kind of a question, right? So some of this is back to timing, and then I think like just focus from an S1 to make sure that this stuff is updated, right?
Because we tell people the cutoff is the 26th of the month, and the reason why we say the 26th of the month is because the effective date, because although we pull around the 2nd of the month, but we say the 26th because if you're updating something in DTMS, such as weapons or ACFT, it's going to take anywhere from 24 to 48 hours for that data to transfer into IPSA to even populate on the PPW. So it's important that soldiers understand not waiting around to that last minute to get that stuff updated.
Yeah, well, that's where it gets complicated, right? You got data coming from another system that then feeds IPSA. You need your G3 or your training room person, right, to help out in that scenario in a lot of cases. So let's talk about, I don't know, what is it, the ARC and the ASC. You know, again, those are I don't know, all you know, we are all involved with those, but maybe people don't totally understand both out in the field. So talk through that a little bit.
All right, so I tell people all the time a general rule of thumb to have with the ASCs and the ARCs. ARCs are a request for action, where the ASC is initiation of action. So an ARC, for example, you would submit an ARC. Say a soldier made the by name list, but the promotion was not done in the system. What they can then do, submit that ARC to us with the by name list attached and say, hey, this soldier made the by name list, explain the situation. We'll go into it, verify that the soldier did make the by name list. Then we can go ahead and promote that soldier within the IPSA system. Now, if that soldier was supposed to be promoted, but was not on the by name list, then what they would do is submit an ASC. IPSA does not have any naming conventions for an ASC. So that would look like a promotion par under special promotion. They'll attach the documents saying, hey, this soldier had the points at the time, but did not make the cutoff or did not show on the by name list. We'll go and review it, and we can easily go into the system, approve that action, and it'll create promotion orders for the soldier.
Yeah, so how long do those take to do, though?
So roughly, it'd be 3 to 4 weeks on that, sir.
Yeah.
But every situation is different because it requires different level of research.
Yeah,
and
sure.
different things to look into.
So, like, if you're looking at, random, ARC, I mean, does that take you like an hour to look through? I mean, what's the general, I guess, timeline that it takes to really understand one of those actions?
All right, so for an ARC, those are a lot more simple. So that's administrative records correction. So we have the proof that the soldier's on the by name list. We can look at it, verify it, and we just easily go into the system and promote that soldier. That's roughly 10, 15 minutes of our time. Now, in the ASCs is different because now we have to look at every aspect of that soldier's record and make a determination on whether or not that soldier was qualified. If we're missing documents, now we have to also request for additional documents. So those can take anywhere from 30 minutes to 2 hours.
Yeah.
And some of them can take days depending on how long it takes to get the documents back, the supporting documentation for that.
Yeah. I mean, for folks out in the field, it's you got a team here that's like looking at this every day, right? Trying to knock these out. And it takes various, various focus, various time, just to get it done. So, Sergeant Major, any other kind of big points you want to make on the junior side of the house?
We covered, I don't know, Sergeant Thomas didn't necessarily he said ARC and ASC, and the actual name of those is Administrative Records Correction and Administrative Systems Correction. So just the acronym things, because I think a lot of times with IPSA, the language is different than what we used in the old system, and I think sometimes dealing with a lot of the soldiers, they tend to go back to the old language, because yesterday someone called me and was like, "Sergeant Major, 3355. I was like, that's old language. It's now the promotion point worksheet. So I think just kind of understanding the language and knowing what it is that you are requesting from us, because a lot of times that's some of the delay, because they request things the incorrect way, which in terms, it kind of stalls the process as well.
Yeah, that's the big change in the Army, right? We took the old system and said, hey, we're doing this new thing. There's some new language and you need to learn it pretty quick. But what didn't change really is the timelines, right? That's for me. That's the one of the big things that I talk about when I move around. Is hey, the timelines didn't change.
Timelines, nor a lot of the rules did not change.
Right. So you just got to go. Yeah.
Sorry, I think a lot of the issue too is, previously before IPSA, the S1, a lot of the control was there. So yes, your battalion commander signed off on those memos approving that board, but they weren't required to go within the system in a certain amount of time to complete that action. So I think getting a lot of the command teams on board, knowing that they have that role to complete it by that deadline, or it's not, it's going to affect the soldier's pay in the long run. And one, you got suicides at a high rate, right? So I had a soldier call me the other day. He was really upset, wasn't getting an answer. And so I'm like, go to your DTMS manager, have them call me on Teams, and I will walk you through it. Because when he first on the phone, he's like, I'm just done with this promotion stuff. I just want to give up. And I'm like, thinking MRT in my head, right? You got to put it in perspective. I was like, go get them. So I walked the DTS manager or DTMS manager through it, ultimately fixing that issue. But I think the command, like I said, the command teams in general, getting them involved and understanding the whole process and the importance of them doing their job. Yeah,
I think that's a great point. It's one of the reasons why I'll end up sending some notes out to senior folks that talk that. Hey, every commander, first sergeant, sergeant major really has a role in this system nowadays, and the reason it's all in the system is because now it's auditable and traceable and trackable. And for the Army, you have to do that, right, to pass big audit that Congress told us to do. So there's a strategic reason why we went into IPSA, and there's several reasons, but that's one of them. So commanders got to do their part, and it's like newsflash, like a pen-inked piece of paper is not really auditable. But your signature in a system that's tracked from place to place is. So that's the big change that comes with the system. But I think that's a great example of how you guys are just kind of doing everything possible to support folks. And again, change is hard, and we put 1 million people into this new IPSA system, and everybody's learning. So that's all new and hard. And we are going to get a lot better as we continue to go. But for me, it's, it's telling the field that, hey, you guys are here to really support and help folks out with promotions. But hey, let's talk senior promotions a little bit too. The OML business, I don't know, you name it. There's lots of stuff going on the senior side. Sergeant Buckley, you want to talk a little bit?
Yes, sir. So I think it starts from the beginning of the process, knowing when you're eligible to get evaluated, when those boards are going to occur, and then what's expected, for you as a soldier to ensure your record is the best record that's going to be seen. And you've done tag talks on the board process and the evaluation board. But the Army's made it predictable, so every soldier knows when they're going to get evaluated. So, the Staff Sergeant Board just happened. That occurs every year between January and February. It may fluctuate a little bit left or right, if we had board member availability or such. But they publish those MILPERs 120 days out from board convene dates. And so that's our pre-board team does that. They're going to get that eligibility from DMPM. We put that in the MILPER, publish it. We added, I think, probably a couple boards ago, we started adding an eligibility roster, which didn't used to get done. We used to rely on those G1s, S1s to pull that. So now we publish that. So 7 days prior to the board files opening up, they can go look at that board roster or the eligibility roster and verify that every soldier in their unit is included in that's supposed to be evaluated. And it helps to prevent, because a lot of soldiers, sometimes that data is incorrect. We've had people that transition over from AGR to active component, that BASD is wrong, maybe the data rank. So ensuring that they have the time to get that stuff fixed in order so we can open up a board file prior to that eligibility cutoff. So we do publish that, and then just trying to get the field educated on checking that board file. As soon as it opens up, don't wait. We get a lot of people that wait to the very last minute and they're like, I don't have a board file. It's literally the last week of the board being open, the file. So then we're trying to jump through hoops to get it open. So I just, we're trying to get the field to due diligence to get their file reviewed. Once that happens and we release those the list of the fully qualified, we do that. It's roughly no more than 120 days from the day that the board convenes. So as we're publishing the Staff Sergeant Evaluation Board results this month. When that list comes out, the post-board team, they're going to get that loaded into IPSA or through EPM E920, and that's what we manage that list off. So every month, once we get requirements from DMPM. They're going to take that requirement, we give it to us, and then we are going to pick those top first eligible soldiers based off the requirement. We release it and then get all the inquiries on why was I not. So also trying to help the field understand what would make them ineligible for promotion. Just because you got evaluated doesn't mean that you're automatically eligible to pin on that next day. Another thing that we added was putting on that published list for fully qualified the soonest eligible to pin. Because 2 Octobers ago, they changed the time and grade pin-on requirement for staff sergeants to the 48 months. So what we did, since you're going to have essentially those people that are on that end of that cusp on getting included, they might have 8 to 10 months where they're not eligible to pin based off time and grade. So we put the date, when they're going to meet that 48 months, or if they already meet the time and grade requirement, it will be when that list we're going to start promoting off. Just for transparency, people understand it. IPSA also now, when we change someone to not fully qualified for whatever reason, if they got flagged for something or had an MREPer, it notifies them, lets them know, hey, now you're NFQ for this reason. So updating them.
Yeah.
So that's the gist of what we do.
That's a lot in play.
It is a lot.
That is a lot in play. I like the fact that you're posting additional things that the attempt is to be more transparent.
Right.
Hey, this is what we're tracking to go into the board. Hey, if you're not on there, hey, tell somebody so you can get into the board. And then, the OML business is you come out of the board.
Right.
For me, it's like, hey, how often were we telling people, hey, hey, we're going to skip you because of this, time and grade, flagged, or whatnot? And I think the approach that you've taken, helps there. IPSA obviously says something to folks if you're paying attention to those alerts in the system. And then you also kind of pinging folks to say, hey, this is what's going on. My view is like, hey, the more that we can talk and share that information and be transparent, probably the better. Because the last thing we want is soldiers to not understand what's happening out there. But for me, I saw it in social media, and that's another reason why we're just on social media now, right? Because people start to ask those questions. And I know you and others on the team are helping to answer those. So that's a kudos to you guys to doing that. You know, Sergeant Major, anything else big that you want to talk on seniors?
I know, like recently, security clearances for Master Sergeant has been kind of a big deal because a lot of soldiers don't understand. In order to be promoted to Master Sergeant, regardless of what your MOS is, every soldier, Master Sergeant in the Army, must have at least an interim clearance once their OML is selected for promotion. Because once we go in, and that although your OML may come up, but once we go in and validate that clearance, if there's no interim or secret clearance in the system, we cannot promote that soldier. So we recently started making sure that we notify those soldiers to let them know. So we kind of do pre-checks in a sense to notify them, to let them know, to give them time to clear that up if it's something that can be cleared up in a timely manner to allow them the opportunity to get promoted. Because once, depending on the requirements, that requirement may not come back around the following month or even months down the road to even allow that soldier the opportunity to pen before that list, we exhaust that list and go to a new OML. So those are things that we try to prevent because we understand the importance of that opportunity to be promoted to that next rank.
Yeah.
And it is a significant event when you have soldiers whose OMLs are skipped and they're in one of those MOSs that the trends don't support those large promotion rates. So we try to make sure that we do our due diligence to notify those who may miss that opportunity.
Yeah, no, I think that's good. And again, it's back to, being as transparent as we can to help folks think through some things. Because again, at the end of the day, we're here to assist this process and to really do right by soldiers. And I think you guys do a pretty good job of that day in and day out. It certainly has been fun as we've gone over the last couple of months as we coach, teach, and mentor folks, how to use the system, and then address, kind of what we've seen. So all good stuff. A couple of things because we're really running out of time here. First up, appreciate you jumping in today and putting a little voice to the names, right? Or face to the names on some of the content we'll push out, via Instagram and Facebook. Every week we're still going to do town halls. We're going to do those town halls. I know you guys carry the load on those town halls. So if you're out in the field and you really want to see examples of some of the actions and some of the questions being asked by others, please tie into those town halls. We're also going to be able to get around and do some training for G1s and different installations. We'll do most of those on Teams, but we'll also begin to do some of those in person as well as we get around in the summer months and beyond for installations. But again, really focused on the timeline and what to do and what are some of the biggest lessons learned that we've seen from promotion. So really committed. This team's really committed to pushing that training out to everyone. And then when all else fails, right, you can call Sergeant Major.
Exactly.
So she is readily available, does not sleep, and will respond. I know she responds to everything I send her whenever it is. So really kudos to you for leading us through this. And really making a difference for the Army. With all that said, I'm going to let you guys have a couple of minutes here at the end if you want. Sergeant Major, any parting shots?
I just want to, as you stated, sir, I think we're all learning. So it's almost like every day I learn something new, and we continue to, as I state, AAR ourselves, as well as how we can continue to make the system and the processes better to ensure that we're doing our part to take care of the soldiers, because when we take care of the soldiers, we are doing our job and taking care of the Army's mission. So
awesome. Sergeant Thomas.
So I would like to add something to the field, sir. So with the new ACFT and everything being implemented for promotion points, so I want them to know that, hey, get that ATFC score into the system, otherwise you will be losing that promotable status. So that is something they need to be made aware of, because I'm starting to see it becoming a little bit of an issue. So I just want to put it out to them. Just take care of yourself.
Take the ACFT and get it into what?
DTMS.
Into DTMS. Okay, Sergeant Buckley.
The only thing I have, sir, is just I'm I'm enjoying this whole social media drive you got going on because I think it reminds, when you're doing the same job every day and you're thinking in your head like, man, why don't they know this answer? Why are they asking this? It seems kind of trivial. But you know, each year you're getting new soldiers that are coming that never been evaluated before, so a lot of the stuff is new.
Yeah.
Policy changes, you expect that people are out there reading, but they're not. So I think being able to drive that focus to social media where everybody obviously is, you know, we're swiping to get the information out there because people don't know what they don't know. So I think it'll help with the Army's retention that we're trying to do and the soldier referral program we got going on. So having people, if they're positive, thinking, you know, we're going to get this promotion, then they're going to be recommending the Army to their friends and peers. Just boosting everything. So
Yeah.
this is fun.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, there's the fun fact of the day from Sergeant Buckley.
You're welcome.
Yeah, no, again, just kudos. Thanks for coming on today. I really appreciate what you guys do day in, day out for soldiers. You know, and sometimes, right, it is a little bit, you know, behind the scenes, right? So you don't always get the kudos, but you're getting the kudos here from Tag 63. So thanks for what you guys do every day for taking care of soldiers. For the audience, thanks for tuning in today. Really appreciate what you're doing to make this process better for the Army and what you're doing individually to take care of our soldiers. More to come for sure, and more Tag Talks to come. So I appreciate all defend and serve, shields up, and soldiers first. Thanks.